Hello and welcome to Trojans Live. But first, it's the undefeated head coach, Clay Helton, joining us now at 4-0, one win away from clinching a Pac-12 South title. Coach, after staring at a lot of zone defense for 3 games, I'm wondering, did your eyes light up when you saw a little man-to-man last night?
I tell you what, we haven't seen that much since really Utah last year. To be honest with you, that's what it felt like early, and I think we all lit up. To be honest with you, as far as wow, okay, here it is, and credit Coach Rolovich and their confidence coming in. They lined up to load the box and stop the run, and played a lot of one high, played cover 1, cover 3, and really challenged the passing game. And I thought Graham did a great job. We always say take what the defense gives you, and if you're going to load the box, and then it's going to be one of those passing days, and that's what it turned into, especially early.
Coach, not playing the week before prior with Colorado and then having that time, I really got to look at some of the numbers, and one of the numbers that hit me was that Eric Kromenhoek had more touchdowns than Amon-Ra St. Brown going into last week. And I'm sure Amon-Ra saw that. He said he called a meeting with you. What's going on, Coach? It's time to get me on the board. What was that talk like with Amon-Ra, and how was it getting him going yesterday?
Well, I tell you, we actually visited during the week, and credit him. I mean, there's a reason there's a C on his jersey, because he's just such an unselfish player, does his job in a physical nature for the team. And like we talked about, I said, buddy, usually touchdowns come in bunches. Don't alter your game to try to force something. You're putting up 100-yard games, and all of a sudden there's going to be an explosion. We don't know when it's coming. But it's going to happen. Just don't change what you're doing. Be consistent in your play, and he stayed true to that. Stay disciplined to it, and then all of a sudden he has that 4-touchdown game. I mean, it was amazing, and I know he's been looking forward to it, to have those type of opportunities. You could see the chemistry that him and Keaton have. Some of those red zone throws were just absolutely awesome. And anytime you match up on Amon-Ra one-on-one, I'll put everything I got on that guy, because he's going to get it done.
Well, the offense, in particular, the passing game really, got going. We saw it in full flight, particularly in the first half last night. We always start this show, I feel like, talking about offense, and you're a guy with an offensive background. But I have to say, and I wonder if you agree, defense has become the identity of this team. The statistics back that up, and I'm wondering if you agree that for this season, at least right now, the defense is leading the way for your program.
Well, I tell you, it's an old adage that defense wins championships, and you can't have there's a lot of great offenses out there, but if you want to be a championship football team, you have to have a great defense, because at some point in time the offense is going to have an off day, and the defense, and we had a couple of those early in the season, and the defense really bailed our football team out and kept us in games that we came back in late. And now all of a sudden the offense is getting cranked up over the last 2 games and really finding its stride. And the defense just keeps getting better and better. And I think that's what I've really enjoyed about this team this year. They seem to get better with each and every week. And they're having so much fun playing together. I mean, you can see the energy and the passion, and I keep on using that word swagger, but there's this confidence just exuding from them, and they're having a blast playing together and playing for each other. But the defense has done a tremendous job, whether it's creating negative yardage plays, turnovers. I mean, in the last 2 games, it feels like we get the ball to the plus side of the field at least 3 or 4 times a game now, and that's what's creating a 16-point win, a 25-point win is really what the defense is doing for our field position.
Yeah, Coach, speaking defensively, I guess we have to talk about the man who was playing possessed out there last night, number 15, Talanoa Hufanga. It seemed like from the get-go he has that first play kind of playing that middle inside linebacker position in that nickel defense, and he misses that tackle, and you can see he was mad at himself. And from that point forward, maybe he was in on every tackle after that. Just played possessed out there. How'd you grade that performance?
Well, I'm going to tell you, if you ever meet Talanoa off the field, he's the most polite gentleman you will ever meet in your life. But when he flips the switch on the field, he's a different dude. And last night, the switch was flipped. His personality came out, his physicality came out, his playmaking ability came out. And I'll never forget that interception. There's a couple plays you always remember. Like I remember Dory going down the right sideline on a kickoff for Notre Dame and hurdling a guy for a touchdown. That interception and then that hurdle and taking them, you'll never forget that. Tapping it up to himself one hand and getting it, hurdling a guy, take it down towards the end zone. Those are special plays by special men, and that's what he is. It's a big reason why he's going to play on Sundays. He's doing some really special stuff right now.
Yeah, I brought it up last night, but he does remind me a lot of Sean's old teammate, Troy Polamalu. He has a lot of those similar skills. We saw similar plays. And it's funny you talk about the personality because Sean will tell you, Troy Polamalu, the quietest, most sensitive person away from the field and an absolute warrior on the field. So it's very similar, cut from that same cloth. And you mentioned it, Coach, the turnovers. And, when I look back at recent seasons, sometimes being, right around zero, sometimes just being upside down in the turnover margin, you're at +6. And it makes the game so much easier. When I think if you're at -6, you have to outgain teams by 100, 200 yards. You had a game last night where you blew a team out, and the yardage total didn't necessarily show that, but the turnovers do, and that's both sides of the ball, right? You're looking at the defense is taking it away much more than we've seen at times in recent years, but the offense doesn't give up. And how much easier does that make everything in football when you're sitting at a +3 turnover margin for a game?
Yeah, it ends up that's what creates 35-0
Right.
jump ahead starts. Really, as it felt like all of a sudden we score on our opening drive. We get a great coverage by our special teams. I thought all day, really pin them back -10, punt return to the plus 35, get it, then back-to-back turnovers, and that made it 28-0. And then from there, you were like, wow. I mean, the field position was just incredible. But you always try to be, if you can be +1 in each and every game, you're going to finish in the top 5 in the country for turnover margin, usually each and every year. And to play 4 games and be +6 and be ahead of that right now is really the reason we're sitting here 4-0, and have really created some nice margins, 16-25 over the last 2 weeks. So defense is doing an unbelievable job getting the ball, and the last 2 weeks have just been stellar. And credit the offense too, gave them nothing. Another 0 turnover day, and you go 3-0. It's a good day.
Coach, I got to take it back to Talanoa one more time. He's a strong safety, and he has that ability. And I talked about it a little bit in the game of cross training from position to position. It's not an easy thing to do, to switch from position to another position, especially during the season. How did you guys get him acclimated to playing that position and getting ready to line up at that kind of inside linebacker spot?
Yeah, it's something that we felt in training camp, that you always plan for the worst, hope for the best, but also want to put guys in certain positions that, when we're facing 10 personnel package, 4 wides packages, that you want that athlete that can run through the middle of the field when you play too high, and be physical enough to be a box player. And that's what Talanoa is. He brings extreme athleticism and physicality to the game. So walking into this game, we're looking at it as, wow, 4 talented receiver, especially their 2 slot receivers, plus McIntosh was rushing for 119 yards a game. We wanted to try to make them, one-dimensional. We wanted to take away the run, create negative yardage plays, try to get them in 3rd and long, and then bring pressure. And so you look up and we're sitting there 73 yards we give up total in rushing, created some 3rd down and long situations, and then that equivalent to 4 sacks on the night and 3 turnovers. So great game plan by T.O. I thought it was extremely creative in the dime package with the amount of athletes that Washington State had. We wanted to be able to match those athletes with that personnel group.
One segment with you tonight, Coach. I want to get to the UCLA game. It's obviously such a big game. Both, of course, the rivalry and the stakes of the game are huge. Going into it, health-wise, how are we doing? Do you feel confident that maybe some of the O-line losses that you had this week might return? And then you had a couple guys carted off, unfortunately, last night.
Yeah, we have a couple guys. Hopefully, will continue to get back off of COVID. this week, and hopefully our testing goes well this week. It went well today. We were all negative, which was terrific. Have really had a terrific week, and thank USC for what they've done and all the protocols in place. They allowed us to get back after 1 week, just not having everything in place and everything the right way. We were able to shut it down, any spread. So that gave us opportunity. We did get a couple injuries last night. Jude Wolf had a foot injury that will require surgery, and Greg Johnson suffered a knee injury that will require surgery. And so those are two good players that were having really good seasons that we'll have to have the opportunity for EK and Josh Follow to come about, and then Max Zell will have the opportunity to really jump into that starting role.
Coach, just one real quick one for me. It's been reported that Palaie Niote is entering the portal. Have you spoke to young man, and what hopes to maybe trying to bring him back, or what's the situation stand?
Yeah, EA is a great kid, and I have had the opportunity to visit with him. He comes from a great family, great player, and he came in and said, "Coach, I'd like to look at all my options." And there's nothing that you can do as a coach other than tell him in situations, support him, and told him the door is always open here. And, we love EA. We hope that whatever his decision is, that it's best for him, and so I hope it's here. I really do, and that door's open. But he wants to be able to explore every option, and we'll give him the time to do that.
Last one, Coach, taking a look at UCLA, obviously an improved outfit. I think we have a pretty good idea of who they are offensively. How have they gotten so much better defensively? Because last year you hung quite a number on them at the Coliseum.
Yeah, I think they're doing a great job of getting to the quarterback, and they're doing it through pressure, at really 5-6-man pressure schemes and holding up in the back end, doing some man pressures, zone pressures, trying to confuse quarterbacks with multiple looks, and really have grown. They've gotten better with each and every game, and are really hot right now. But they played what I think is a good Arizona State offense, and did a nice job against them. I think anytime you slow Jaden Daniels down, you've done your job. But it's been through getting the quarterback off his spot, and the D line has been extremely active. But the pressures that they are applying to the quarterback, they're forcing you to get the ball out quick.
Well, it's a big one. Coach Helton will be in charge on Saturday. USC, UCLA at the Rose Bowl doesn't get any better than that. We'll talk to you about it next week. Thank you, Coach.